Alright guys, welcome back to part 2 of the fantasy running back pyramid, and let's get right back into it. James Cook, he is sitting at RB12. I have him at RB10. I think he's slightly underrated from where he's going. Oh, the Bills offense too is just very pass heavy, but now that their wide receiver core is not as great, I think they're going to be leaning on him more. I seriously think he can be a solid RB1 now. I think he's getting better throughout the years. I think they're going to move more to a run type game. We'll see. I think he's in the back of solid RB1. I think if he's your RB1, you go wide receiver heavy. I think you can scoop him up at the end of the second, beginning of the third round. Javonte Williams, I mean, look, not horrible. Very injury prone. Going as RB29, I, ugh, I don't know. I barely have him on my list. RB27, it's about the same. I can't, I can't. I say he's slightly underrated because there's no competition in the backfield, but there is no. It's just the Denver offenses also suck, so they could lean on him back of RB2. If he's my RB2, I'm not upset if I went wide receiver heavy, got a good tight end, got a good quarterback, but I would really rather have him in my flex or even my bench, honestly. He's going pretty far down, so you can get him. If he's in your flex in a 12-man league, it's not horrible. Jalen Warren, he's just one of the backs, splitting with Najee Harris. Najee's got the grit. Jalen's got the passing upside. They're both going to be flex starters for me, and they're going to be below. They're going to be back here. It's just you can't. And these are interchangeable. It doesn't really matter because it's the Pittsburgh has a solid offense, but you can't have anything more than a flex starter from a split running back unless you're Gibbs or A-Chain with huge upside. And especially because they're really splitting, and Tomlin was adamant about that. I mean that's why the other all the flexes are in there right now. Mixon, honestly, I think he's going a little high at RB11. I have him at RB15. I still think he's a mid RB1 though. I think the Texans offense is going to put him in a solid position. I think he sits above the split back running backs, but not above the pass catching running backs in this category here. JT JT's getting drafted really early for how injury prone he is. And that's not horrible, but guys, is it RB4? I have him as RB6. Mm, I mean, you got to put him in solid RB1, but I really don't think. I think he sits behind Pacheco and Henry. I really do. He's got a solid offensive line to run behind, a decent quarterback to hand him the ball and toss dump passes to him, but I don't know. I just got. He's been good when he's not hurt. He's just very injury prone. Now, Jonathan Brooks, I actually have him as one of my sleepers. I'm going to put him in the sleeper category, especially because he's a rookie. I think, look at what happened to Christian McCaffrey and the Panthers drafted him. I think he could be, maybe not, obviously not as good, but like, as long as he's healthy, I know he's injured right now, but as long as he's healthy, solid sleeper you can pick up semi-late in your draft. He is going a little early to considering he's still injured. I still think he's a solid sleeper right now. You put on your bench, start him in your flex, maybe gets even better. RB2, who knows? Josh Jacobs, ooh, it's kind of gross. On Green Bay, they kind of have a committee as well, but he's definitely going to be the starter. It's not much of a committee, but they do love bringing out. Uh, forgot what's his name, but I think because of that, Jacobs is actually going to sit at the top of RB2. I don't want him as my RB1, and I think he's a mid RB2 at that, honestly. Now we got Kenneth Walker. I, he's one of my sleepers. He's one of my sleepers. He's getting drafted at what? RB17? That's nuts. I have him as my RB12. That is, I mean, the Seahawks offense, they love using Kenneth Walker. They really don't bring out Zach unless he gets tired. I think K9, he's got a lot of goal line upside, and he's got grit and pass catching upside. Give me a solid RB2, mid RB1 conversation. Ooh, but he leads this up here. He does lead this. I really think he does. If he's my RB2, I get him in the fourth round or third round, depending on 10, 12 man leagues. I'm super happy. I am stoked. Sometimes I can even get him in my flex with my mock drafts, and I love that. I love it. Kyron, I think I don't think. Look, he's getting going as the RB7. He's not that guy, but I still think he's got insane upside on a really good offense. But he's not that guy. I'll put him behind. He has to go behind Kent Walker, honestly. It's just he's also got the injury upside, injury prone. Ah, and he's just getting drafted too early. I think there's a lot of mouths to feed on that Rams offense, and they're going to be throwing the ball a lot. Two stud wide receivers. Nick Chubb. Now here, I think is my last sleeper that's really on this list, and I think it's because he's getting drafted so late. You can get Nick Chubb at the RB38. 2 years ago, Nick Chubb was going in the first round. He's not that much older. He's still that same guy. You saw him in that one TikTok video squatting an insane amount of weight. He just has to get eased back into the NFL. I think taking him here and just having him in your IR or on your bench is such a huge upside in fantasy. Insane. He's the best sleeper for sure. It's unbelievable. Rashad White. I'm, I don't know why I see so many people hate on Rashad White. He's getting drafted at RB14. I have him at RB13. He does great things. I mean, and he's solid. He was the RB2 last year. I don't understand the hate. I think he is in solid RB1 contention, but I think he's got to go. I think he actually leads this category. I know I said Kenneth Walker does. I think he leads this category here. Ugh, Stevenson. It sucks he's going to get his career wasted here because he's an OU alumni. I loved OU, by the way. I can't. He's getting drafted RB18. I think that's ridiculous. I have him as an RB23. Sorry, McAllister's. Not today. I think he's a flex starter at best. I think he goes above everybody, all the RB2s that split reps in committees. But I don't want him as my RB2. I only want him my flex. Saquads, on the other hand, I love Saquon with the Eagles' offensive line and offense in general. I seriously think this rounds out the hero RBs, and I love it. I think he's the worst one there, just based off of situation and weapons and everything, because Eagles have a lot of weapons. But I think taking him and you're like the 10th, 11th person and sweeping around and grabbing like a guy like Garrett Wilson is amazing. Tony Pollard, committee. He's in a committee. He's in a committee to where he doesn't even have a good offensive line really. I can't put him. I can barely put him as the flex starter, barely, just because he's got the passing upside. ETN though, oh, ETN is one of my favorite guys to draft. RB10, I'm sitting him at RB8. He's probably rounds out the solid RB1s, and I think he goes above James Cook. I love it. These last two guys are kind of irrelevant. They're both bench guys. He may not even be a starter, and he's RB2 behind Connor. So